May 6, 1937. 7 p.m., Lakehurst Naval Air Station, New Jersey. Hundreds of people are gathered on the field, reporters, photographers, Navy ground crew, families waiting to meet passengers. A radio announcer named Herb Morrison is setting up his equipment. He's there to record a routine arrival for a Chicago station. Nothing dramatic, just the landing of a great airship. Above them, catching the last light of evening, the Hindenburg appears. 804 feet long, longer than 3 Boeing 747s placed end to end, almost as long as the Titanic. The largest aircraft ever built, a floating symbol of what Germany was telling the world it had become. In 25 minutes, it will be gone. 36 people will be dead. And the age of the airship, 3 decades of wonder, of luxury, of a different kind of flight, will be over forever. This is the story of 34 seconds that changed aviation history. Not because of what went wrong, because of the decisions made years earlier that made disaster inevitable. The Hindenburg, May 1937. The golden age of the airship began in Germany. Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin had been building rigid airships since 1900. By the 1930s, his company's ships were crossing the Atlantic in 2.5 days. Passengers dined in elegant restaurants, slept in private cabins, watched the ocean pass below through panoramic windows. In 1936, the Hindenburg inaugurated transatlantic commercial service. 10 round trips between Frankfurt and New Jersey, more than 1,000 passengers, not a single injury, not a single incident. It was the fastest way to cross the Atlantic, faster than any ocean liner, and infinitely more dramatic. The Hindenburg was also something else. Its tail fins were emblazoned with swastikas. Nazi Germany had poured money into the ship. It was their symbol of superiority, their flying billboard. Every crossing was a statement. Germany is back. Germany is powerful. Germany leads the world. But there was a secret at the heart of the Hindenburg. It was designed for helium, a safe, non-flammable lifting gas. Hugo Eckener, the ship's designer and the greatest airship pilot of his era, had argued for it from the beginning. Helium didn't explode. Hydrogen did. There was one problem. The United States controlled almost all the world's helium, and in 1925, Congress had banned its export. The fear was military. Helium was a strategic resource, too valuable to share. When the Nazis came to power, the ban hardened. Washington would not hand Hitler a tactical advantage. So the Hindenburg was rebuilt around hydrogen, 7 million cubic feet of it, packed into 16 gas cells running the length of the ship, highly flammable, explosive under the right conditions. They even built a smoking lounge, pressurized to keep hydrogen from seeping in. A room full of cigars and cigarettes floating inside the most flammable aircraft ever constructed. A political decision made years before the ship ever flew had loaded it with a bomb. It just needed a spark. May 6, 1937. The Hindenburg's first Atlantic crossing of the season. It had left Frankfurt 3 days earlier with 97 people aboard, 36 passengers and 61 crew. Strong headwinds had slowed the crossing. Thunderstorms over New Jersey delayed the landing further. Captain Max Pruss circled the area for hours, past the skyscrapers of Manhattan, out to the Jersey shore, waiting for the weather to clear. Inside the ship, passengers watched the American coast through the observation windows. A young couple had brought their 3 children. Werner Döner was 8 years old. His sister, Irene, was 16. Their father, Hermann, was filming the ground below with his movie camera when they began the final approach. He went back to his cabin. They never saw him again. By 7 p.m., the storms had passed. Pruss brought the Hindenburg in for landing. The noselines dropped. The ground crew grabbed them. Below, Herb Morrison switched on his recording equipment. At 7:25 p.m., a witness near the main gate noticed something, a flicker of blue light along the upper spine of the ship. Just for a moment, almost invisible. Then the tail erupted. A red glow, a flash, then fire. Herb Morrison's voice broke on the recording. It's burst into flames. It's burst into flames and it's falling. It's fire and it's crashing. It's crashing terrible. Oh, the humanity and all the passengers screaming around here. The Hindenburg burned in 34 seconds. Not minutes, seconds. The hydrogen in the gas cells ignited in a chain reaction. The aluminum frame glowed white hot. The outer skin burned off in strips. The tail hit the ground first. The nose reared skyward, then crashed down. 200 feet, that's how far it fell. People jumped from the windows, some from 60 feet up. Some waited until the ship was closer to the ground. Many were caught in the falling wreckage. Werner Franz, a 14-year-old cabin boy, was in the officer's mess when the fire started. A water tank above him burst open. It drenched him completely, protected him from the flames. He kicked out a hatch, dropped to the ground, and ran into the wind. He survived without a scratch. Werner Diner's mother grabbed her 2 boys and dragged them to a broken window. The ship was still in the air. She threw them out, one after the other. "I don't remember being in the air," Donor would say decades later. "I just remember lying in the sand." His mother tried to throw Irene out too, but Irene was 16, too heavy to lift through the window. Their mother jumped when the ship was nearly on the ground, breaking her hip. She begged a steward to go back for her daughter. By morning, Irene was dead. So was Herman. So were 34 others. 62 of 97 people survived, an extraordinary number, given what the ship became in those 34 seconds. But 36 did not. On the ground, the Hindenburg burned through the night. By morning, nothing was left but a blackened aluminum skeleton. 804 feet of it collapsed on the New Jersey mud. Herb Morrison's recording was flown to New York and broadcast across the country. It was one of the first coast-to-coast radio news broadcasts in American history. The images of the disaster filled newspapers and newsreels worldwide. Everyone saw it, everyone heard it, and no one wanted to fly on an airship again. The era ended that night, not slowly, not with debate or decline, in 34 seconds. The LZ-130, already under construction in Germany, was finished and flew briefly, but it never carried a single passenger. The Helium Act was amended after the disaster. American public opinion swung in favor of selling helium to Germany for the new ship. Then, Germany annexed Austria. Secretary of the Interior, Harold Ickes, refused to sign the final contract. No helium, no passengers, no future. The age of the airship was over. Today, if you visit Lakehurst, you'll find a small museum and a marker on the field where the Hindenburg came down. The spot is quiet now. Hard to imagine that night. The flames, the screaming, the aluminum skeleton glowing in the dark. The Hindenburg carried swastikas on its fins. It was built as propaganda, but the people aboard it were not symbols. They were families. Werner Diner, the last survivor, died in 2019. He was 90 years old. For most of his life, he didn't speak about it. A repressed memory, his son said. He remembered lying in the sand. Remember the 36 who didn't walk away. Remember that the ship was built for helium, that politics made it hydrogen, that the match was already lit before it ever left the ground.